All right, so we're moving on to chapter 10 with the missing manatee. Okay. We sat for a while talking about the fish and the fight, reliving every moment of the sheer pleasure of it. At around 3:30, Dan said we'd better head in. I was putting away my rod when I had a sudden idea. Hey, Dan, could we get on the radio to Matt and tell him about my fish? Dan took a sip from his bottle. No radio, he said. I lost a big tarpon one day with my fly line got tangled in the antenna, so I was mad. I ripped the darn thing off, he grinned. Much better that way. I shouldn't have been surprised. To Dirty Dan's way of thinking, a radio wasn't a good thing to have in case of an emergency. It was a possible hindrance of landing a fish. That's why he was the tarpon man. No sweat, I said, thinking I was glad Mom was at work and there was no chance of meeting her at the dock when she got back. If she knew I'd been out all day with no radio, no food, no fresh water, not to mention with a bottle of whiskey and a gun and a boat, well, I didn't even want to think about how mad she'd be at me and Mac both. No way I wanted to be the cause of another fight. Plus, I'd never be allowed to go fishing with Dirty Dan again. That was for sure. Thinking of Mom reminded me that I was supposed to wear a life jacket when we were running. Guiltily, I realized I hadn't worn one on the way out. I have put one on for the ride home, but no surprise this time, there weren't any of those either. I peeked at the bottle of whiskey and saw it was pretty near empty. Uh-oh. Was Dan drunk? He didn't seem to be. I watched him stow his push-pull and let the engine down. He moved around the boat quickly and easily, not staggering or stumbling like drunks do in the movies. The whiskey didn't seem to have any effect on him. So why not just drink water, I wondered. Dan asked, "Ready to roll, Skeeter?" His voice sounded normal, too, not slurry and mumbly like a drunk's. I gave a mental shrug and said, "Ready." We took off, zooming across the flats, and all my worried thoughts blew away with the breeze. I could hardly believe it. I'd caught a tarpon. At Larry's, I helped Dan secure the boat. I was thanking him for the 1,000th time when Blink walked up. Blinky was by his side, a ball in his mouth. "Hi, Dirty Dan." "Hi, Skeet," Blink said. Instead of his usual smile, though, Blink wore a worried expression. His eyes blinked even faster than normal, and his gaze flew anxiously from Dirty Dan to me and back to Dan again. He sounded nervous. I noticed he hadn't reached into his pocket for his flipping quarter. "Hey, Blink," I said. "What's up?" Dan smiled and gave his son's shoulder a pat. "How is it going, Blink?" Blink seemed to relax a little at that, but he asked, "Is Dirty Dan mad?" "Mad," said Dan. He looked at as puzzled as I felt by Blink's question. "Was Skeet bad?" Dirty Dan. "Did he have to get mad?" Blink went on. An odd expression passed over Dan's face. Then he smiled quickly and said, "Heck no, Skeet here got himself a tarpon. What do you think of that?" "Skeet got a tarpon?" Blink repeated. "That's good, Skeet." I was glad to see his face split into a huge grin. Skeet got a tarpon. "I sure did," I said. He was a beauty. And believe me, nobody's mad, except maybe the fish. Blink got a big kick out of that. He kept laughing and say over and over again, "Skeet caught a beauty and nobody's mad but the fish." Then I saw him reach into his pocket. Before he could say it, I did. "Wanna flip?" Then Blink found that hilarious too. He said, "No, Skeet, I say wanna flip, remember? I say wanna flip. Then we play." "Oh, right," I said. "I forgot." "Okay, you say it." "Wanna flip?" "Sure." We played one game, and I was happy to see he'd forgotten about Dan and me and being mad, or whatever he'd been so worried about. I said, "Blink, I'll play again, but I've got to get something to drink fast. And I think I'll go take a shower and sit in the air conditioning for a while," said Dan. "Okay, Dan. Hey, thanks," I said as he turned to go. "That was so great. It was the best day of my life. Really, I mean it." Dan said, "You did good, Skeet. Tell Mac I said so. You coming, Blink?" "Skeet and I are going to play again, Dirty Dan," Blink answered. "All right, you come on home after. Have some supper." Blink and I went into the marina, followed by Blinky. I didn't have any money with me, but Larry said to take whatever I wanted on credit. Blink announced to the whole store that Skeeter got a tarpon and it was a beauty and nobody was mad but the fish. So, after I sludged down a can of soda, then another, I told the story to Larry and Blinky, and two guys who were hanging around. They were so attentive, an audience that I could remember and hope for. And they had a lot of questions too. So I opened a third can of soda and a bag of chips and sat down on the old wooden stool by the counter. I finally had a good fish story of my own, and I figured on taking my sweet old time telling it. That's exciting. Skeeter got his first fish, and now he's one of the big guys. He's got his own fish story to share with everyone. And that's the end of chapter 10.